And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win? It's the start of a new month, so let's just get into the usual fray. This goes up from Caesar, 38, who asked the question, who would win a fight, Korra or Shoto Todoroki? Now, obviously, there's some similarities there. They both wield two different elements. But I think this comes along from the Zuko versus Shoto debate. Now, Death Battle obviously did their take on it. I didn't 100% agree with everything they said. I think Zuko was the superior physical fighter. And even though Shoto can take some hits, he's not a physical fighter. But overall, what they talked about, like the amount of firepower both could unleash, that did make sense. So I ultimately accepted that Shoto won that fight. The question is now, could he go up against a much more powerful character in the likes of someone like Korra? Well, as we know, Shoto's quirk is half hot, half cold. His left side allows him to create massive amounts of ice and freezing effects. His left side's the fire, his right side's the ice. My bad. His right side creates massive amounts of ice, huge F-off amounts of ice, like enough to encase an entire stadium. And multiple freezing effects, where his left side is the fire side, which burns, creates massive amounts of fire that theoretically could surpass even his dad's fire, which his dad's fire is extremely hot. Notice it's hellfire is his quirk. Shoto, though, does have limitations. Too much fire overheats his body. Too much cold basically lowers his body's temperature. He has also learned to combine his fire and ice together for something known as phosphorus fire, which basically is a cold fire that counters any other fire there is. Shoto's a very intelligent individual, a relatively skilled tactician in his own right, able to deduce weaknesses fairly effectively, and do multiple different effects with both his fire and his ice. As you know, as I said, he created the phosphorus effect, but he can also just freeze someone's legs in place. Literally get his ice so cold that he can actually freeze off flesh and limbs, like he did with the Nomu. His fire, he can just hold the heat in his hand and just melt something with his palm. He can just unleash a very small amount of fire if he really wanted to, or he can, unleash multiple waves of fire. He can, by his fire and his ice, create steam for hiding. He's actually very versatile with this quirk. Korra is the avatar that preceded Aang. She's not. I don't think she's as good at Avatar as Aang. One of the issues actually I had with the Legend of Korra over the Avatar: The Last Airbender was the fact that Korra was just very unlikable at a lot of points. She was very arrogant, very full of herself, and I get that's part of her journey to overcome that. But I don't think they spliced a lot of likable traits in Korra. There were points where she was actually actively trying to break up a couple just because she wanted to date one of them. Like, I don't get you're a teen, but dear God, that does not, you're the main character, that does not make you likable. That does not endear you to the audience. And look, Korra has plenty of good things in it too, from my understanding. I didn't ever watch like a lot of past the first season. Even the first season, I didn't see it in its entirety. Korra, but I do know a lot of what happened in the series, and it definitely had its moments, 100%. It had some good stuff in there, but it's just not Avatar: Last Airbender. But Korra, for what it's worth, is still a very capable and competent fighter. She did ultimately end up mastering, being able to use all the elements. She was a master waterbender, being it her natural element. She was a skilled earth and fire user as well. She was a competent airbender, but that was the one element that she definitely lacked the most skill in. She was also just a straight-on skill. One thing she had over Aang definitely was she was a straight-on hand-to-hand fighter. Like, she had no problem getting down and dirty with her fists. She's a lot more headstrong, though, than Aang, and she, therefore, doesn't strategize as much going into a fight. I cannot remember, though, if she learned metal bending. That one, give me 1 second on that. I cannot remember metal bending. Korra. Metal bending. Metal bending? Yeah, bending. Metal bending. I guess I'll just go with metal bending and find the people who used it. Let's see here. Where's my known metal benders? Metal bending employs top starting to teaching the methods. There we go. Known users. Who are the known users of metal? Did Korra learn that? Because if she learned that, that's a tick on her belt, or notch on her belt that Aang never got to have. Because Aang, as far as I know, never learned metal bending. He learned energy bending, which she then learned from Aang. Let's see here. Known users. Let's see here. Stupid ads. Korra. Okay, Korra did learn metal bending. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's kind of when I have to check shit because I didn't watch past a certain point. So she did learn metal bending as well as energy bending, and she also learned to commune with the spirits in a way that other avatars didn't. If I remember correctly, and I'm double checking that right now, she had like the spirit of light merged into her. If I'm not now, as far as I know, she knows that. That stopped being the case after a while. I think she left, so I guess that doesn't really count towards this fight. Yeah. So that's exactly what happened. She managed to restore the contact with Ravo. That was her name, the light spirit, and lit within her. Okay, so yeah, there's that. As far as she learned to connect to people's energy via the spirit vines and all that, blah 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 blah. But yeah, she's a conduit to the spirit world. She's also mastered her avatar state, although it's nowhere near as dangerous as something like Aang, where when he actually went into it, he was literally a walking natural disaster. Whereas Korra, it amps her all of her abilities, but you never get that vibe of, oh my god. No, it's like, oh crap. No, with Aang, it's like, holy shit. Still, she's immensely powerful. She does have some. She definitely is not perfect, though. She had no defense against blood bending. She could still have her bending taken away. It was just by sheer grace of luck that she got her bending brought back to her. She is still, she's capable of being poisoned. She is capable of PTSD, and that really, which season was it where it really screwed with her? Hold on one second. Which season was that? Let's see here. Season or book, whatever. I think it was book 3. That was the book that really screwed her up, and she was basically just trying to like recover from it for the entire time. But she was poisoned and she was beaten, and she was just a physical, emotional, and mental wreck in that season, which definitely grounded her a bit. I think that definitely helped out to help make her a bit more relatable. I think because she comes off a little too perfect. She comes off honestly a little too Mary Sue in season 1. Now, granted, not to the point where she really is a Mary Sue, because she is making mistakes. I'm going off on a minor change. I'll keep this brief, like a minute. The thing I hate when people use the term Mary Sue is they don't use it correctly. Mary Sue means that basically you have an answer for everything. You're stronger than everyone around you, more or less. You're too perfect, basically. But characters like Korra, and to an extent Rey, are not Mary Sues. They mirror Mary Sue's, and I'll even say this: Korra, to a degree, is a Mary Sue, same to a minor degree Rey, but the difference is they are making mistakes. They are not perfect, and they do get beaten down. So, especially Korra later on in the series. Rey is another is another one people call a Mary Sue. But again, no, she makes mistakes. Particularly in episode 2, she made some big mistakes. And she's not, while she is gifted with the Force, she still is learning a lot. And it comes to bite her in the ass when she's made these mistakes. So, no, and she gets her ass handed to her by like Snoke and stuff like that. And she even got her ass beat by Kylo Ren in the 3rd one. So, no, they're not Mary Sue's. They are at least not in the truest sense of the term. They do have traits of a Mary Sue, but there's enough of the other traits that in there of a not Mary Sue to basically not make them a Mary Sue. At least from my opinion. At least that's the way I view it. If you think they're a Mary Sue, I don't think you're right, but that's you're entitled to your opinion. Regardless, how's this fight going to break down? Honestly, I could see her again seeing someone. It's kind of how Death Battle opened up their fight with Korra training, or whoever it was training. Actually, because Korra's the Avatar, I could see it. Shoto's training. Korra comes in, and there's a misunderstanding. Now, ultimately, these two wouldn't really fight in real life, but it's a versus scenario. You're asking who would win. They're both throwing out elements. She's like, ice and fire? Wait, how the hell is she able to do that? She's throwing out a lot of fire to melt some of the ice, but Honestly, I think he's got the edge in fire, like straight out legit, pun intended, firepower. I think his fire and his flames are more capable than hers are. The benefit, though, is his ice, she can just turn that into water and throw it right back, douse some of the flames out. But she is, in base form, she is a little bit on the losing side of the fence, honestly. She is struggling a bit with him. Because he just, I think, has sheer fire. We're talking base form, mind you. His sheer level of power and his elemental manipulation is, I think, greater than hers. So she will struggle for a bit, but she ultimately does get, and using the Avatar State briefly to get in close, start wailing on him a little bit, but he counters with fire. She counters with her own fire, gets blasted back. Ultimately, though, she comes in, creates some just metal boxing gloves, starts wailing on him a bit more, throws the metal at him to try to bind him. He basically melts the metal off his hand and goes plus ultra. She ultimately has to go full on Avatar State, where she's now manipulating his flames. And right out the gate, or right there, that lies a problem with any elemental manipulator matchup. The ability to manipulate your opponent's element. Todoroki can't manipulate his own elements, which, by the way, as far as I remember, I don't remember Zuko ever doing that in the death battle or them bringing up that he could do that. Because they can, we see it to a degree in the series. Weirdly enough, they actually do that in with the movie we don't like to talk about, the live action movie. That's how normal firebending usually works, is that they actually bend the fire. Apparently, creating it on your own is actually a very rare skill in that version of the world. But yes, by all accounts, you should be able to manipulate fire. That's exactly what you should be able to do, and bend that fire to your will. And yeah, Korra should be able to do that and throw it back in Todoroki's face. Where Korra, at least in base, lacks the power to overwhelm Shoto, Shoto lacks the versatility because she has 2 more elements over him. Shoto also lacks the endurance and stamina because his body temperature is constantly fluctuating. He has to constantly balance it. So he's, unfortunately, while he can take some physical hits, he's not a physical fighter. That's not where his bread and butter lies. Whereas Korra has no problem dishing out physical damage and getting it up close. So the moment she really puts the Avatar State to use, I think that's kind of all she wrote on that. She's going to overwhelm him. He's just not going to be able to keep up anymore. He's going to be, out of breath. He's going to be tired, fatigued. His body temperature is going to be either constantly too hot or too cold, and him constantly having to raise it or lower it. She's just going to take advantage of that opening, I think. Add on the fact that she is a lot more aggressive than he is in a fight. She's going to be pressing the attack, the offense the whole time. So I think Korra is probably going to take the win. But I could see the argument for Shoto, to be fair. I do think he is has the overall stronger elemental feats overall. She's just has more versatility. She has 3 other bending styles, 4 actually, and I didn't even get the energy bending. Now that I think about it, I didn't even bring up energy bending. Which, if she could just get in close, which she theoretically could, she could just nope. And so, yeah, she's got 4 other elements over him. Technically, she's got 5 because she can just manipulate water on its own without even turning into ice. Waterbenders can already do the ice shit as it is. So technically, she's got 5 elements over him. She actually also has just more experience, I think. She's a better physical fighter. She's a lot more prone to being offensive, and she has the Avatar State to boost all of her capabilities beyond where they already are by an umpteenth degree. So while Shoto does have the firepower advantage in base, he'd have to take her out quick. Otherwise, this fight is not going to go his way. So I would go Korra in this fight. But who do you got in this fight? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll see you folks for the next one. I might go out and catch a movie to play some catch-up tonight. But I haven't decided yet. Let me know in the comments below. But anyway, let me know in the comments below what you thought of the fight. See you next time.